Hey, welcome back to week 3, Cota, Circuit of the Americas. That was about as exciting as I expected. Actually, it was a little bit better than what I recall the last few years when it was I don't know what they called the longer track, longer course, because this is a national course that they ran today. Once again, I go back to what I said last week. Why do we have stages that doesn't require a pit stop? I think it just ruins the race for the fans and certain drivers in general, because you have two choices. You can flip the stage or you can stay out and get points, but if you stay out and get points, you're not going to do anything for the rest of the day. Maybe you're back far enough, you get more stage points the second stage because everyone in front of you is going to pit, flip the stage, so you just stay out and you just rack points. But to me, if you're going to have stage racing, you should have at least one pit stop per every stage. And the last one should have 2 pit stops you have to do. But that is that. It was pretty decent, I guess. It wasn't the greatest for a road course, but it wasn't the worst. It could have been better. I mean, lap 1, you got Chastain booting Elliott. He entered the corner, entered turn 1, 9th, 10th, somewhere in there, and tried exiting first. Elliott was not happy. Spotter wasn't happy, and he said if you get to him, I'm paraphrasing here, spin him out, hit him, wreck him. And Elliott said, okay, I just wanted to make sure that I was not at fault before I do it, and I am okay with doing that. I don't want to say I'll say it was a topic of conversation, so to speak, for the first stage and a half. Bubba was the first one to get hit with track limits there. I think his was in the S's. I could be wrong. I don't remember. I think it was the S's. They didn't show it. So 3, 4, 5, and 6. No one knew, apparently, what was being policed and what wasn't. I don't know exactly. I'm assuming he went off in 3, 4, or 5. Because it turns out they said they're not policing 6 if 6 helps you get ready for 6A. Which, how many 6s are there? There's turn 6, 6A, and 6B? I was confused on the whole 6 thing. Like, just give it a 6A. No, it's 6 and then 7. Like, what's the 6A and 6B nonsense? It makes no sense. That's just how I feel about it. So that was in the first stage. Really, nothing exciting happened in that stage. Or the second stage. Second stage, Larson did not like. I can tell you that much. He had track limit penalty. Denny had a track limit penalty. Larson, I think this was to flip the stage, had looked like left rear trouble, and he comes out and is going into 6A. He came on the radio going through the S's, felt like he had a flat or something, and then he said, oh, nope, there's a tire. Wheel came off. So he had that problem, and he's pretty much done after that. I don't think he was not... Yeah, he was not in the top 20. He did not finish in the top 20. Then Bubba, once again, I don't understand how people get this. Which, granted, it's not as often as it used to be. But he got a choose penalty. Like, you can see the arrow. You know where you're going. You're not triple deacon anybody. Just go. I don't understand how you get a penalty for that. Anyway, I mean, he ended up finishing 20th, which isn't bad for having 2 penalties. But when you started outside front row, probably should be a little bit higher than that. But whatever. It is what it is. I think he probably was top 5 in points, stage points. No, I think he was 3rd. I don't know. Either way, he had a pretty good points day because he did end up he won first stage. He got 10 there, and then he got 3 stage points at the end of stage 2. So he wasn't too bad. And then so what caution was that came out last? Oh, the Elliott and not Elliott, Dylan and Denny caution. Elliott just got tires with 13 to go, and he for being spun out and going to the back, having to make repairs. I think he said broke a control arm. I don't think it was toe linkage. I don't forget what he said, but all that, he ended up finishing 4th. So that's a pretty solid day. It took all day to come back to finish 4th. So I mean, he had a hot rod. He said that the car was never the same as it was yesterday, so he could have been in contention to win if he was able to race up front all day where he started. But one of those things, we'll never know. We'll never know what could have been. Bowman had a heck of a day too. Actually, HMS in general, besides Byron, had a heck of a day. But Bowman, what did he have? I think he had a penalty. He had power steering issues. And started tail end of the longest, or started his last car. Oh, on the lead lap. Yeah, tail end of the longest line is where he had his go, I do believe. Maybe it's just tail end of, either way, whatever. So he had to come back, and he ended up finishing 9th. That's not too bad. The last, 15 races there? Or 15 races, 15 laps was pretty exciting. It was, you had Harvick on the broadcast. He's got to move him. He's got to move him. Bell's got to move him. Bell's got to move him. Bell's got to put the bumper to him. The whole time, they showed the replay of Busch getting to him last year, and he said, "You got me once, you got me twice. There won't be a third time." And there's no way C-Bell is going to put the bumper to him right here. Like, he is going to race him as clean as possible. He's already got the win. You don't need to create enemies. Like, I'm not saying he's going to roll over and just let Busch win, but I'm like, there's no way. He's not going to move him. They did touch a little bit. It was just racing, beating and banging. He ended up, Busch made back-to-back mistakes, and Bell capitalized, and clearly at that point in time, the tires came into effect, and he drove away. So, it really, and then Busch even said in an interview, I did everything I could do to hold him off. He had better tires than I did. Don't know if he had a better race car, but he had better tires, and he wished that he could have two extra laps on his tires and see what would happen, but obviously the shoulda, coulda, wouldas come into effect there, and they don't really mean anything. But all in all, he felt like he was raced cleanly, considering their history there, and I agree. Chase even said, Elliott was like, "Hey, it's pretty cool to watch it'd be 3 because he finished 4th. Watch 3 people battle it out and not wreck each other. They have respect, they're professionals, and they race clean." And it was nice to see. But once again, I know Mike Joy came on broadcast. He's like, "Just in case, we got the yellow light down in the bottom of the corner of the screen for you." And it's like, yeah, we should not have that. We should not have a yellow light that determines the race. If we're going to do that, I said it last week. I don't think I said it the week before, but I said last week. We might as well get rid of overtime. Just yellow comes out, it ends the race. If you're going to end the race on a yellow. But luckily, this week, we didn't have that. There's actually zero controversy, really, other than it seemed like some drivers didn't know about track limits at turn 6. Or technically 3 through 6. They didn't know what was and wasn't being policed, and so you kind of found out as the day went on. But so this is the top 20 finishing order today. We had C-Bell, Byron, Reddick, Elliott, which Reddick, he fell back. I think he was in the 20s at some point. So to come back, finish 3rd, and it's not too bad for the pole sitter. Busch had a good run, obviously. SVG, Buescher, Gregson, Bowman, Gilliland were your top 10. Then you had McDowell, Chastain, Hocevar, Briscoe and Gibbs, they probably have an interesting meeting, or interesting what's it called tomorrow? Competition meeting. He just went in there and cleaned Gibbs out. There's no way you're making that 3 wide. And he didn't make it 3 wide. He just moved Gibbs out the way. And anyway, so yeah, then Keselowski and Justin Haley, which he was he not up in the top 10 at some point? Possibly top 5? I mean, we knew it wasn't going to stay that long because of pit stops still had to go, but he had a good run. Herbst 17th, that's not bad. Stenhouse, Blaney, and Bubba round out your top 20. Seabell goes back to back. And we're heading into a track next week that he won last year. So he could be back to back to back. We have to see. I mean, Penske and Gibbs runs real well at, I mean, really anyone runs. I guess HMS does too. Run good at Phoenix. Really, if you get out in front, you're going to stay out front. I just think it's funny I think it's Mike Joy said, next week we're going to have side-by-side, door-to-door racing action. And I was like, where are we going next week? Martinsville? Yeah, no, that's not Phoenix. Phoenix does not provide that, unless they did something we don't know about. But I do think there is the option tire, which I don't know why they call it the option tire. Just say, hey, we're going with the hard and we're going with the soft. But I have to double check. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. But I'm pretty sure I've heard they're getting the 2 tires, hard and soft tire, next weekend, which could make it a lot better, more interesting. Yeah, once again, I'm going to go back. I'm probably going to complain about this every week until NBC takes over. But Seabell was the only one interviewed after the race, in the post-race. And then when I saw it finished at 6:01. I'm like, okay, it could be iffy here. They're either going to give us a half hour of post-race interviews, or they're going to cut it off. Well, 16 minutes, and of the 16 minutes, I should have timed it. Probably 10 of it was commercials. They only interviewed Seabell. Like, get rid of commercials. Like, I understand TV is what pays the bills, and technically Fox controls what goes on, but at least give us the top 3, especially after you broadcast and you advertise the Busch and Bell controversy from the past 24 and 22. You know, you got to get Busch in there. Hey, what do you think about that? Do you think he raced you cleanly? Like, we should have to go to the interwebs to figure out what Busch thinks about that. But that's all I got for this week. Nice, sweet, and short. So next week, we got Phoenix. And yeah, take care.